Oi, pessoal, tudo bom? Bom, esse aqui é o primeiro episódio do Nursing Conversations. A gente vamos falar um pouquinho sobre esse projeto e esperar o pessoal ir chegando. E aí depois a gente vai. A ideia, né, é ser totalmente em inglês e aí depois a live vai ficar salva, então quem quiser depois ouvir de novo para ver se entendeu, né? E bom, é isso. Vou dar uma introdução um pouquinho sobre o projeto, de onde que nasceu. Bom, para quem não sabe, eu e Cláudia somos irmãs e nós somos enfermeiras nos Estados Unidos há 4 anos e meio. Quando nós nos mudamos para cá em 2019, nós dividimos um apartamento eu sou casada, ela também, e a gente teve esse acordo e bem legal, foi muito bom para as duas famílias. Os nossos maridos são amigos desde a faculdade também, então foi um período bem bacana e importante. E a gente se ajudou muito nessa fase, né? E aí a gente tinha horários bem diferentes durante os nossos primeiros contratos de plantão lá em Albuquerque, porque eu trabalhava das 6 eu trabalhava plantões de 8, das 6 às 2, e você trabalhava das 2 às 10. Então, muitas vezes, quando eu chegava no trabalho, ela já tinha saído, quando ela chegava, eu já estava dormindo, porque eu ia trabalhar cedo no dia seguinte. Então, a gente não se encontrava, né, morava na mesma casa, mas muitas vezes a gente só não se encontrava por dias. Aí, quando a gente tinha um day off em comum, naquela manhã a gente sentava no sofá ou na mesa da copa e conversava sobre os nossos plantões, como é que estava sendo, as dificuldades, o que a gente estava aprendendo, pessoas legais, enfim. E aí, até hoje, vira e mexe, a gente ainda, quando se encontra, conversa sobre enfermagem, né? Nós duas somos enfermeiras. Por mais que nós temos maridos que são excelentes, muito parceiros também, participam muito das nossas conversas e tudo, é diferente quando é de enfermeiro para enfermeiro, porque a gente se entende, a gente fala aquela mesma linguagem. Então até hoje a gente fica conversando, lembra disso, lembra daquela facility, lembra daquela pessoa, lembra disso e tal. E aí um dia a gente pensou assim, seria legal se a gente abrisse isso para outros enfermeiros, por isso a ideia realmente da gente estar sentados junto, assim, para conversar. E a ideia é ser em inglês para que vocês possam treinar o listening também, começar a ter mais contato com isso. E é daí que surgiu a ideia. Né? E, bom, a gente vai pular para o inglês já já. O tema hoje vai ser sobre as nossas coisas favoritas, assim, o local onde a gente mais gostou de trabalhar, nosso lugar favorito, colega de trabalho favorito, enfim, umas 5 ou 6 coisas que a gente mais gostou. E, só uma observação também. A gente sempre vai omitir nomes de colegas de trabalho, de pacientes, obviamente, de facilities também, de hospitais, sempre com uma abreviação para não expor ninguém e não correr nenhum risco de quebrar a HIPAA. E
é isso, pessoal. Então, como é live, não vai ter legenda, mas vai ficar salva. Essa live vai ficar salva para quem depois quiser ver, depois assistir de novo, né? A gente tem muitas ideias para esse projeto, então não é a única vez, isso vai ser uma coisa recorrente, a gente vai querer fazer isso muitas vezes, então assim, a gente vai cada vez melhorando, mas a gente não queria deixar de fazer isso sem ela estar 100% perfeito, né?
Exatamente, a gente tem muitos planos para isso, mas como ela falou, se a gente fosse esperar exatamente como a gente queria para começar, a gente ia perder o momento, então era melhor começar de uma vez, do jeito que dá, e depois a gente vai melhorando, mas a ideia é ser como se fosse um podcast ao vivo mesmo, aqui para vocês. Okay, so now we're switching to English. Most of our followers are Portuguese speakers, but if you are listening and you were not understanding any of what we just said, we're going to introduce ourselves. Jessica.
I'm Claudia.
We're sisters. We're both nurses. We're RNs in the United States. We are Brazilian. We were born in Brazil, but we grew up in the States, in the Houston area, and then moved back to Brazil, got our nursing degrees because that was our dad's idea for us. It was a great idea. Then we got married and moved back to the States in 2019, first to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then we moved to Texas, which is our favorite state. That's a little bit about us.
So a little bit about Nursing Connections. Started out with our process, our international nursing validation process, and we had friends ask us how we did it, and we found out a lot of nurses have this dream, have this objective to also leave Brazil. So that's how it started, us helping friends, and then it grew into us turning into a company. Today we have 8 team members in total who help with every aspect of the company, and we help international nurses with their licensing and validation process. We match them with a sponsor who can hire them, employ them, and also petition for them. And that's pretty much what Nursing Connections does. And we are both nurses. We're both, like you said, we're both registered nurses, and just wanted to, I guess, share a little bit more about our nursing journey.
Yep. Okay. So now we're going to talk about our favorite things. Okay. Top 5 favorite things in our nursing career. So just a little backstory for y'all. We both did a lot while we were agency nurses. Well, I still am, but we did rehab, we did nursing homes, we did long-term care, we did skilled nursing, we did detox. We did occupational nursing, so
psychiatric hospital.
Yeah, we done a little bit of I wouldn't say everything, but we did quite a bit, and so we have that to share with y'all.
And that's a good thing about you being an agency nurse. You get to experience or do things that if you were fixed in one place, you wouldn't probably be able to do it.
True, I would say that's one of the best things about agency is the possibilities that you have, the flexibility that you have. So we're going to talk about some of our favorite things about this period of life. So nowadays, so I'm on maternity leave, but I've been mostly doing detox. So working with patients with substance abuse recovery. And Claudia,
well, today I work from home.
Yeah.
And I
non-traditional nurse.
Yeah, I left. I work from home. I work with workers' comp. That's all I'm gonna
living the life.
That's all I'm gonna say.
But when I ask you about your favorites, you can talk about both, about your life today and your previous nursing life. Okay, so let's talk about favorite place to work. What was your favorite place to work as a nurse?
Aside from I think all of these questions I would say today, but let's just take that out of the equation.
Yeah, what's your favorite place you've ever worked? My home. Okay.
So let's take that out. My favorite place that I've worked was probably in the occupational health setting, and probably I only did 2 shifts at a company. It was at the height of the pandemic, and we just had to screen the employees with their temperature and stuff. Okay. That was pretty laid back, but it was also very boring. Between people coming in and out, I literally did nothing. I sat at a desk and I stared at the wall. I got really good staring at a wall. So wasn't the funnest. It's just definitely the easiest, but not the funnest. So probably occupational. You had highs and lows and moments of a lot of stuff to do, and some emergencies. Got to see EMS. Obviously that's a good thing because someone got hurt.
Right.
But it was interesting seeing the EMS. He had one hand on the guy. He was holding him, and with another hand he was doing an IV, and it was magic. So got to see a lot. Yet I was still occupational, so I wasn't bedside care. So really a lot of desk, a lot of phone work.
That's good. Well, my favorite place to work was probably detox. I've done a lot of different detox facilities in the Austin area. One of them, I think GW.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? So it was a great place. And it was a 12-hour shift. It was in a beautiful venue. Like it was just a nice place to like work at. And the work was good. I like patient care, but I don't like that like hospital rush so much. So I still like to have some sort of patient contact. But I got to like sit down and, you know, and also they have like a 5-star world-class chef who would cook for the patients, and we could eat as well as the staff. And oh my gosh, it was the best meals. Like we would get such good meals, like steak meals, and that was one of my favorite things because it would be because I did the day shift. It would be breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. So it was great.
It is good whenever going into work you don't have to think about what you're bringing, because if you're doing 12-hour shifts, you have to get home from your shift. You have to not only make yourself dinner, but you have to think about your lunch for the next day. So if you're doing back to back to back, that can get a little. So shout out to all the husbands and or wives who do that for their partner. That's definitely a lifesaver. But if you're going, I don't have to think about lunch tomorrow.
Ooh, man. That was nice. That was nice. And it was a bit of a drive for me. And one time driving there, I got hit by a deer. Our area here has a lot of deers, and it was like still dark time. It was pretty scary, but it was good times. I also, at that time, I was nursing my firstborn, and I had to stop and pump breast milk a lot. And I would have to do it in that 12-hour shift, like at least 3 times. And it was no problem doing. Like I would stop, pump, go back to work, because it wasn't like, you know, call lights beeping or codes going on that I couldn't stop to pump. It was a perfect gig for a postpartum, like coming back from maternity leave kind of work, for sure. Okay, so now favorite coworker.
Favorite coworker, I'm gonna go with 2. One was in the occupational health setting. She was not a nurse, but she was the best.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
she's the best conversation. There were downtimes during the shift, and it was just, she was great. And you know, the other person would be somebody who helped me a lot in my first job in a rehab facility.
She was an LVN.
She was an LVN. Yeah. That was a war zone, and she was helping me, and she took me under her wing, you know, like a mom, and I just go running to her. And help me, and she would.
Yeah, I remember picking up shifts at that place, and then you told me like, hey, if you need any help, this is the person you go to.
Yeah. Ask
her. And I remember coming to her, hi, I'm Claudia's sister, help me. So it was good. She was a great person. Okay, favorite schedule type. So like between.
What about you? Favorite coworker?
Oh, my favorite coworker. My bad. I have a few. I had the privilege to work with a lot of great people, but I'm gonna go with probably. She was also an LVN who worked with me in the. So remember the place I worked at most when we were in Albuquerque? So the place is, I'm going to go with M. And it was a nurse. So her name also starts with M. And she worked with me lots of shifts. And we just had so much fun together. She was great. She was funny and she was helpful. We were like partners in crime. My supervisor over there also was good. Like she used to be a floor nurse, and then she got promoted to ADON. So JK was her initials. And she was great. She was great because imagine having a nurse who's on the floor with you, who knows, you know, how tough it gets, and then she becomes management. So we felt like we had a friend in management. So that was really cool. I'm gonna go with them. There was another nurse that I worked with in detox in Austin. First letter A. She was so cool. She was just a really cool nurse to work with. I really liked her too. Yeah, can't pick a favorite. Like that's hard.
Yeah.
Okay, now favorite schedule. So we're gonna talk about like 12-hour shifts, 8-hour shifts. We've done 4-hour shifts
and a 16-hour shift.
We've done 16-hour shifts. We've done in like 9 to 5, kind of like Monday to Friday. Yeah. So, what's your favorite look like?
Again, apart from today. Wow. Well, while the 4-hour shift was great, I do feel like
on the weekends, right? Remember?
Yeah. it was really far. That place was really far. We had to drive probably about almost an hour to get there. And it's like you drive 1 hour to work for 4. It felt kind of like
not worth it.
Yeah. Almost. So, I mean, 4 hour, it's great because you're like, the time goes by really fast. But it's like, I'm here. Might as well do a couple more. So I do feel like it's great if you were to think about it. Oh, it's just 4 hour shift. But then once you get there, it's like, oh man, I wish I could do more because I'm right here. Might as well.
It was also a detox recovery place.
But it was so far, and
yeah,
there wasn't that many activities to do. In 10 minutes, you do your meds, and that's it. And you'd just be sitting there. So I'm going to go again with occupational health because
when you used to do like...
the rule there was 8 hour shifts. So I would work Monday through Friday. And it's like, you know, like we always say, there's no perfect place for you to work. There's no perfect job. You win some, you lose some. Instead of working 12-hour shifts, I wanted to, you know, I rather work every day, but in a place where I prefer than work 12-hour shifts, have 4 days off, and work in a place where I don't really like. So I would say occupational health because it was a Monday to Friday thing, and they were very flexible. I just didn't do nights at that place, but I did.
It was a 24-hour place, so you could work night shift.
Because the plant runs 24 hours a day, so you could literally work anytime. So I never did nights, but I did very early mornings. Like there were days that I got there at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., so that's like super early. And I did evening shifts, meaning I was there until 11.
Yeah,
so
I did those
right? Too. So I mean, I was there pretty much anywhere in the AM area. So, but the best time I would say was when I was probably 7 to 3. I didn't wake up so early. I was able to wake up like around 6. That place was 5 minutes from my apartment. So I woke up at 6, got up at 6:10. By 6:50, I was out the door. At 6:55, I was clocking in.
Yeah.
And I got home at 3. It's until 3:30. So I'd be getting home. If I left there at 3:30 on the dot, I'd be getting home at 3:35 to 38.
Nice.
So I'd still have pretty much the rest of the evening. So I think that was my favorite.
Yeah. I would say between an 8-hour shift and a 12-hour shift, I would go with an 8-hour shift just because I have 2 kids. So like I feel like the 12-hour shifts, even though you do get more for your money, like more of your money's worth. Like okay, I already banged it out. But for me, like I haven't worked a full-time schedule in a while, so I don't like necessarily miss that anyway. So I'm like, I'd rather an 8-hour shift. That way I can either see my kid early in the morning or, you know, have like an evening afternoon with my children now. But, I think I would go with an 8-hour shift. And while in the occupational health, I remember doing I liked the evening too because I would get like a morning time with my kid, and then when I got in, like we wouldn't have to have a sitter the whole day because my husband would get off work at 4, so that was a good deal. But also when I got to go in from like 9 to 4-ish was also good.
That's good, yeah. But it's like whenever you do 12-hour shifts, I know some nurses do prefer that because it's like, I'd rather have 4 days out. But I just feel like those 3 days that you're working, you just don't exist.
Oh, yeah. You're dead, man.
You don't exist for anything else except for work. And it's just, it hits you like a truck.
If you're going to travel afterwards, that's really good because then you get a whole bunch of days off. But, I mean, who's traveling that much anyway? So, favorite nursing procedure?
You go first.
Okay. I would say I like wound care. So while I was detox, we still do a little bit of wound care every now and again when somebody has like an abscess. But or just like a cut.
You like.
I mean,
you like to see the progress of the wound.
Yeah. So I like wound care. I even contemplated. So we have like wound care nurses here, and I've even contemplated doing that at some point. I don't know yet if I would, but I like doing wound care, whether it's surgical or whatever. Or pressure wound. I would go with that. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, disclaimer: I don't really like bedside nursing. So if you don't, I feel you. So I don't really like procedures in general, but if I had to pick one, I didn't find it that hard, like vaccines,
Yeah, vaccines are great.
I did a lot of, during the pandemic, I got to work with COVID vaccines, in the occupational health setting. So it was really fun because you just be poking people and
drawing blood
and
too.
drawing blood. I like drawing blood. I mean, it's not that it's something that I would love to do all the time, but it's a procedure that in nursing school I was very afraid. I would shake. I hated not, missing the vein, but it's normal to miss a vein. It's not uncommon. But I got to lose that fear. While in detox, I got to practice that more, and in occupational health, I would do that more often, and it came with a feeling when you're like, oh, I'm going to when you get the vein, and you get it, and you're like, yes, it's such a thrill. It's such a thrill. So.
And we were talking about that earlier. Detox for us, one place in specific, the nurses had to draw labs for all the intakes. So every time we had an admission, the nurse had to draw the labs. We didn't have an outside person do it. So we got to practice a lot of just drawing labs. And when you have to draw labs on specifically intravenous drug users, it can be hard because a lot of their veins are, not good veins anymore. So it's really good practice when you get to draw blood from drug user patients. Mm-hmm. So we got a lot of good experience from this one particular place as detox nurses. So I also like drawing blood and vaccines. It's fun times. And last but not least, favorite nursing hack. So I'll go first. Back when I used to do med-surg, so there's a lot of running around back and forth between the nurses station, between med rooms, between patient rooms, right? You're on your feet a lot. So to kind of and that's kind of a pretty well-known nurse hack here in the States, but if you're international and this could be new for you. But our scrubs come with lots of pockets, right? More pockets, the better. So, I used to just kind of stack up in my pockets. We have IV flush, saline flushes for, all our patients' lines. Whether it was IV flushes, whether it was alcohol pads, whatever it was, I used to just stack them in the scrub pockets so that I don't have to be running back to the supply closet every time I'm about to go inside a patient's room. I'd have to be going back and forth to get more supplies. I already have my basic supplies with me all the time. So I think that's at least for bedside, that's a nursing hack that I would, tell y'all to do as well.
I can't get any better than that. Maybe snacks. I remember there was a nurse who would always tell me, keep snacks in your cart. That way, if a patient wants a specific snack, you don't have to run back and get it.
Just kind of optimize your cart, your treatment.
I was always a note taker. Even in nursing school, I would joke that if I was to be mugged, you could take my phone, but not my notebook. Remember that? Mm-hmm. So I had thick notebooks. And I always carried a little notebook with me wherever I went. It was this little pocket size, so I would write literally anything in there. So, I mean, it's a nursing hack if you're afraid of forgetting stuff.
Or you don't want to be asking the same thing over and over again.
What's the code? What's the code? What's the code? I try to
have it with you.
Have it with me, so that way I would know. I just open it up. I know where to look, and I wouldn't have to be depending on somebody just to. So it's a nursing hack to have it right now, or else you're just going to be using Post-its all the time. No one wants that. Yeah. And I lost that notebook on my last shift at my last bedside place. I lost that notebook.
Ooh, okay.
So that
in Texas.
Here in Texas, I lost it. So if you found it,
if you have Claudia's notebook,
you have the codes of lots of medication doors.
You have lots of numbers that mean nothing.
That mean nothing to you,
but it meant something to you.
It's probably in the trash. It's been over 4 years now. About almost 4 years then.
Yeah,
that happened. So it's a nursing hack if you write things down for you to remember.
Interesting. I was just thinking here also in some places when we have to transfer a patient or when we had to call in, like somebody, one of our patients was going to the emergency or, whatever it was. I found that it would be helpful if while I was making the call, I was in front of the computer with that patient's face sheet, right, staring at me, because I have made the phone call before, like probably one of my first times. And I didn't, like, all I had from the patient was like his name and date of birth and like just basic stuff. But the nurse that I was giving report to, or, whatever it was, they were asking me other questions that I didn't know. And I was like, oh, hold on. Then I would have to go on the computer and open them up. So instead of like doing all that, I learned that if I just had their face sheet open right away on the computer, it would save me a lot of time, in that person's time as well. So these things might seem like silly if you're a seasoned nurse, if like you're listening to us like, oh, of course, duh, that's obvious. But like if you're a new nurse, and especially if you're a new nurse from a different country, like you don't know the ins and outs of nursing here, this could be, like really good tips and like life-saving for some of the nurses who are like brand new to this. So
especially if you call EMS, that's a scary moment.
That could be another topic is just like EMS, man. Yeah. Oh man, I had beef with some firefighters and some EMS, man. Like the paramedics.
I'm sorry if you're a paramedic.
Worse, man. They used to undermine us nurses.
But they're very mean. They're very mean to nurses sometimes, and so EMS will ask a lot of questions about the baby. Like, how old are they?
Yeah, they're gonna be condescending about it.
He's having a heart attack. Can you come?
You're gonna be. Oh man, this is a story for another day. But like, anyway. So this was 5 of our favorite nursing things. Thank you for everyone who's stuck around. The idea is keeping it short, keeping it sweet, kind of like a conversation you're having with a friend. So we're at our 26-minute mark. So we just want to thank you for participating. Again, this is going to be saved in our feed, and we will let you know when the next one's going to be real soon. And yeah.
And thank you everybody who's watching. We hope to be doing this more frequently. That way you can practice your English. So whenever you're going to start working, so if you're not working yet as a nurse in the United States, you might be like, they're talking way too fast. It's not going to be like that. But it's a little disclosure, it will be like that.
It will be worse.
The nurse who is giving you a report, remember, that's whenever you get the shift from the other nurse, they will be wanting to leave. They want to go. They've been there for 12 plus hours. They want to go home and eat and sleep. So they're going to be talking fast. And if you don't catch up, you're going to get lost and it's not good if somebody comes to you and you're like, I didn't even know that was my patient. So, the objective of this is training you guys to have already that hearing, already practicing what it's like to be hearing in English on a more technical level. Obviously, we're here on a more formal level. There's no call lights going on. There's nothing happening. So just imagine in a shift setting, in a hospital setting, you're talking about a patient and there's sounds. You can't hear what they're saying. They have their accent. You're a little bit nervous. They want to leave. So it's just to train you guys, to prepare you guys. Obviously, nothing we do will truly prepare you, but if we can help just maybe 10% with your English and prepare you guys for your shift, that's what we hope to do.
That's right. Obrigada a todos que participaram. Vai ficar salvo no feed. Espero que vocês tenham gostado do nosso primeiro episódio de Nursing Conversations.
Beijo pessoal!